There we go. Welcome back to another video lesson in the section of mastering penny stocks. So before we kind of went over some very basic details about, what a penny stock is, why trade it, are penny stocks risky, kind of some basic things about penny stocks. But we didn't really touch, or sorry, we haven't gotten to talking about how exactly we find these penny stocks. And that's what we're going to be covering over these next couple videos in this section. How do you find the penny stocks that everyone traded or everyone's trading and that you always hear about? How do you find those big 100% runners, 500% runners? How do you find that? And that's what we're going to be going over in these next few video lessons, okay? So what we're going to do in this video here today is we're going to walk you through, or I'm going to walk you through how you actually find these stocks. And the question you're asking yourself right now is, how do you find them? And the answer is stock scanners, okay? Stock scanners, stock scanners, stock scanners. If you ever hear of someone trading a penny stock that was booming and it went crazy, chances are they got it off of a stock scanner, or they heard it after the move had already made, or it was alerted by someone who has a stock scanner, okay? So a lot of times these big penny stocks you see that were flying off, they don't just, they do come out of nowhere, but chances are somebody has found that stock, that penny stock, by using a stock scanner. If you found out about it and you don't have a stock scanner, you most likely found out about that stock because somebody told you about that stock. Then you went and looked at it and went, oh my gosh, this thing's flying, okay? But chances are you will never stumble across some stock flying 100%. It just doesn't happen unless you're involved into chat rooms or have stock scanners, okay? So again, you're not going to find these penny stocks without stock scanners, or be at least being involved in some type of trading room or getting yourself involved in the marketplace. And then that being said, you don't stumble across them, okay? You're not going to stumble across these penny stocks. It's all about stock scanners and chat rooms. So moving forward, looking at the screen here, this is TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim platform. Right now we are in the scan tab. If you're not familiar with Thinkorswim, ideally, all this is the section in Thinkorswim's trading platform where you can scan for stocks based on criteria that you input into the platform. You'll input some criteria, and that will basically pull up a list of stocks. Okay, so I have a video of this pre-market scanner already in the course. Okay, but for this section, it's necessary to have it because you need stock scanners to find the penny stocks. So if you haven't already used this scanner, or this is your first time, all you have to do is literally copy and input what is here on the screen right now. And I'm going to walk you through it so you can fine tweak it if you would like. But what's on this screen and all the things that are inputted right now, the price, the volume, all that you can use right now to find penny stocks, okay? You don't necessarily need to tweak it too much more than this, but you can, and I recommend it, because if you start tweaking it, then you'll kind of figure out what works a little bit better for you, okay? So always kind of mess around with it a little bit, but if you like the way that this one is made out and it works for you, then please, by all means, go ahead and use it, okay? So first things first, how do we find the penny stocks? It's all based off of stock scanners for the most part. So in this video right here, I'm going to walk you through this particular scanner. We're going to go through many of them in this video lesson, but I'm going to walk you through this particular scanner because this one on the screen is a free stock scanner you can use through TD Ameritrade. If you live outside the country of the United States and you cannot access TD Ameritrade, if you live in Canada, you live in Europe, Mexico, somewhere like that, and you can't use TD Ameritrade, I'm going to walk you through some other scanners that you too can use to do the same magic that TD Ameritrade offers. But before we get there, let's finish, okay? So right here is a stock scanner that you can use through TD Ameritrade. Let's say you just logged into TD Ameritrade and you're wondering where the scan tab is. It's right here. There is the scan tab. So all you gotta do is come in here, okay? And then what we're looking at is their scan criteria, their scan tab. So first things first, to create this scanner, you're gonna wanna have all of these particular categories filled in, okay? So the first one you're gonna wanna have here is last. So you're gonna have stock, stock, and study as your bottom, okay? So first things first, you're gonna wanna have last. So you're gonna come in here and click last and make sure that's the category. And then this little spot right here, this little input box, this controls the pricing. So right now, this is saying, I'm telling the software, this scanner, that I want to scan for stocks no less than 30 cents and no greater than $10. So I'm willing to pick up any stock that's priced from 30 cents to $10. If it's above $10, don't present it to me. I don't want to see it. If it's below 30 cents, don't present it to me. I don't want to see it. That's what that first top bar is here on the scanner. Moving down, volume. Volume is as it sounds. It's volume. How many people are trading the stock? How many shares have been traded on this particular stock? Okay, so right here, there's a minimum of 2,000. Okay, you could put this in as 2,000 if you're scanning for stocks really, really early in the morning, because a lot of stocks have not traded on heavy volume. Okay, but as you get closer to the morning bell and you get closer to 9:30 and the bell's about to ring, you honestly want to be scanning for stocks at least above 50,000 shares. Okay, that's kind of where you'd want to be scanning in pre-market. Okay, because as day traders, as stock traders, we want to only be trading stocks that are trading on high volume. Okay, and to find these really good penny stocks, most of them will be trading on relatively high volume of at least 50,000 shares or more by pre-market. Okay, every once in a while there's ones that slip under, but we have a different scanner to pick that up, which I will show you. So the next tab down is volume. All this category is telling you is me. I do not want to pick up any stocks on the scanner unless they have at least 50,000 shares of volume already traded. And then you can either, you can leave the volume category here on the right to nothing, because we don't care how much volume something's trading on. We just want a minimum. We need to have a minimum because we only want to trade stocks that everybody else is trading. If you're trading a stock with a really low volume and nobody else is trading it, then chances are that stock's not going to do very well. It's probably not going to see fast price fluctuations. It's going to be very hard to make money, so stay away from it. Only trade stocks trading on relatively high volume. Your question you're probably asking yourself right now is, what is considered high volume? Well, when we're considering pre-market trading, remember this, pre-market trading, honestly, anything that's trading around 150,000, to 200,000 and up pre-market is relatively high volume, okay? When they're trading in the millions, 2 millions, that's very high volume to be trading in pre-market action. So the next question you're probably asking is, if you just said the rule of thumb, we want, high volume or to trade on high volume, and you said high volumes of 120, 150 to 200,000 pre-market, then why does the scanner only say 50,000? Well, as I stated before, depending on what time you get up and you start looking at stocks, some may not have traded 200,000 shares, but could be a really good stock. So you always drop it so you get a good variety, and then you sift through it and only pay attention to the ones that end up being good. And you'll have the judgment and knowledge to know what stocks are trading on high volume and which ones aren't. But you always want to kind of give yourself more options. That's why you lower the volume there when you're doing the scan. At least that's what works very well for me, and I know it works well for others. So that's kind of where I would place the amount of volume. You can always start at low and you can always go up, right? You can always increase the volume, okay? But once you increase the volume and you scan very high, you're going to miss stocks below. You'll pick everything else above it, but you'll miss them below. But if you start low, you'll get everything, and then you go through and you pick which ones are good, and we're going to teach you how to do that, okay? So again, before we move forward, this middle line here, this category area for stock and volume, it's just saying that I want to scan for stocks with at least 50,000 shares of volume and I have no max. If you were like, I only want to scan for stocks from 50,000 to 300,000, you could enter 300,000 here and that would work as well. But you don't want to do that, okay? Moving down, this is where we actually kind of get a little bit more in depth with it, shall we say, is this last filter on the bottom, and you see it says study. So it's no longer stock. it's actually study. So what we're doing here is we're actually inputting a study. And I'll show you how to actually put it down here, okay? Just give me 1 second. So first things first is the study filter. And what we're looking for is a price change, right? And I'll show you how to put it on it right now. We'll actually do it right now. So if you want to add this study filter, you're going to have to go up to Add Study, very straightforward. Add Study Filter. When you come down here, you're going to need to go to this drop-down box, and you're going to go all the way to the bottom to Price Performance, and you'll scroll over, and then you'll see Price Change. Click Price Change. And now, as you can see, I've just presented an exact replica, duplicate of what's the one above it, okay? And so what this is, it's saying you're looking for a price change, okay? So from the close, so you want this to be closed, not open, but close, because the price change we're looking for is a price change from yesterday's close. So if, today is Tuesday and we're running this on Wednesday, this scan is saying, hey, I'm looking for a stock that is 3% greater than the previous day's close, okay? Because what I'm showing you right here is a pre-market scanner to find penny stocks that are gapping up. And I'm going to cover all of this. So if you're still a little confused, don't worry. We're getting to all the good stuff, okay? So what we're looking for here is a price change, okay? We're looking for a price change from yesterday's close that is at least 3% greater than yesterday's close, okay? And then the greater than is from 15 bars ago. So this is just saying this little 15 bars ago, and you can play with this a little bit. It kind of picks up a few different stocks every time you change it around a little bit. But this is just saying that we're looking for a stock that is up at least 3% from yesterday's close, from 15 bars ago at least. So there's at least been 15 bars of trading, 15 candlesticks essentially, from yesterday's trading at the close, okay? So by inputting exactly what you see here, you're going to start being able to pick up stocks that are gapping up in the morning, okay? This is a very basic scan. There are ones that I'm going to show here in later videos that are more in-depth, a little bit more in-depth than this one, but primarily all the pre-market scanners that you hear about are all the same, whether it comes from Trade Ideas or some other scanning software. Majority of these pre-market scanners are all the same thing. You're searching for a stock price from 1 to 5 or 1 to 100. You're scanning for a stock that's at least trading on 25,000, 100,000 shares of volume, and it's up 2, 3, 4, 5% from yesterday's close. And how do I know that? Because if you're scanning for a stock gapping up, it has to be increasing from the previous day. A stock that gaps up needs to at least be higher than where it was yesterday when the trading day ended, right? From when the trading day ended. Kind of think about it this way. Let's say you went to sleep and you were making money while you slept. When you woke up, your money would have went from here to here. It gapped up. Or, for example, let's say you were trading stocks and you held some shares of a company or a stock overnight and the price went up. Your price just gapped up overnight, hence the term gapping up. If you went to sleep and you lost money overnight, your money dropped down. That's what we call a gap down, okay? So whenever you hear gap up, gap down, this, that, don't get confused. It basically just means the price went up, okay? That's it. Just the price went up from yesterday. That's all it means, okay? So we're going to get into showing you some examples of gap ups and then eventually gap downs and whatnot. But in this particular section, it's all about penny stocks, and that's where we need to stay focused. We can't get off track, okay? So with no further ado, you can use this scanner here. I've showed you how to add all the stuff, what all the categories mean. All you have to do is hit scan, okay? All you gotta do is hit scan in the morning. When you do it later in the day, you'll still pick up stocks, but this is gonna pick up stocks that have traded all day long. But if you run this scanner in the morning during pre-market sessions, before the market opens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're going to start finding stocks that are gapping up. Now, we're going to talk about going in, scanning, and then what we're really looking for, okay? So let's do that. For example, let's say that this was 9:30 in the morning and I run this scanner. And let me tell you, if you're using TD Ameritrade's paper trading account and you don't have real-time data and you're using their simulated trading, these scanners do not work because these scanners scan for stocks in real time. So if you're on delayed data, you're scanning for virtually nothing. It doesn't exist what you're scanning for because it's not in real time. So your scanners won't work, FYI. Okay, so let's go a little bit further. So let's say we've done our scans and this is the morning. Now I'm going to show you two different stock charts. I'm going to turn it over to two different stock charts and I'm going to show you exactly what it means when you're looking for a stock that's gapping up. Okay, let me slide this on over. All right, that is great. So on the left, we have a stock, we have the stock SLS. Ooh, let me put that back up. So on the left here, we have the stock SLS. You can see that there. And on the right, we have the stock BPTH. All right. These are two different tickers, and they're very recent. These are only from a couple days ago when I was making this video, at least. So these particular stocks were gapping up. Okay. Let me show you what it looks like when you see a stock gapping up. And we'll put it on a 5-day, 5-minute chart, and then we'll also do this one on a 5-day, 5-minute chart. And let me make this a little smaller. There we go. So I'm going to move this around. There we go. That'll work. All right. So for this, look at these two stocks, right? When we're referring to stocks gapping up, we're referring to the price action and the trading that's taking place every day in the market before the stock market opens. We're not talking about it in the middle of the day. We're referring to stocks gapping up during pre-market trading. Okay, so you have the scanners, right? So we run the scans, and those scanners that I just showed you are going to find stocks that are doing this in the morning, gapping up. There's not an actual gap on the chart. There might be a little bit. You kind of see there's a little price jump here and a little price jump there, creating a little bit of a gap. You'll see that, but you don't necessarily have to have a big one for it to be considered a gap up. They're all gap ups. Anytime the price, like I said, anytime a stock's price opens up higher the next day, so if the price closed here and we open up here the next day, that just means the price has gapped up. That's what we're referring to. Any price movement above the previous day's closing price is what we refer to as a gap up, okay? Next thing, that scanner is going to pick up stocks like this and present them to you. So as you can see here, if we were running that scan, we would have scanned for stocks that are trading from 30 cents to $10 on relatively high volume. And what that stock would have done is it would have picked up this stock pre-market before any of these big moves happened, okay? That scanner would have picked up BPTH before any of these, before the market opened, and maybe would have been able to short the stock, okay? So that's exactly what that pre-market scanner I showed you just did. So jumping back to how do you find these penny stocks? Most oftentimes, not all the time, and I'll get to not all the time in some later videos, but most oftentimes, these penny stocks you hear about going 200% a day, most oftentimes will start pre-market. They will start trading pre-market on relatively high volume, 50,000, 100,000 shares of volume. And they tend to happen and start these moves during pre-market trading. So when you ask yourselves, before you watch this and you're a beginner, you had absolutely no knowledge about trading penny stocks, or maybe you had a little bit, and you always ask yourself, how do they find those stocks? I just told you, and I just showed you. And most oftentimes, that's the way it works. Not all the time, but most oftentimes, what I just showed you is how you're going to find those big penny stocks that you hear about all the time, that you hear people making $2,000, $3,000 on. That's how you find them. You're going to use a stock scanner. You're going to use a pre-market stock scanner with particular criteria that's going to pull up the stocks and penny stocks that we're trying to find, okay? That scanner with that criteria is going to pull you up the stocks that are gapping up pre-market, okay? And most oftentimes, this is exactly the process that you're going to use to find these big runners, okay? But that's not all that goes into it, okay? It's not all that goes into it. There's going to be things like there's going to be things like news, earnings plays. There's multiple reasons why a stock may be gapping up or is gapping up. So there's multiple reasons. So finding the stocks is the easy part. You used to think it was the hard part, okay? Before you ever started trading, you may have thought, dude, if I could just find or know how to find these stocks, I could do it because I see it going up and then I just buy it and then it's smooth sailing from there. But not so fast. There's way more that goes into it, which you're going to learn. But for now, you now know how to find the penny stocks that will most oftentimes become a good stock, okay? Most oftentimes become a big runner. They're not all going to happen, but that process right there is going to lead you to finding them. And that's only half the battle. Now we got to know how to analyze them and we have to know how to trade them. So there's way more you're about to learn. So stay tuned. Make sure to continue going down video by video in this section so that you can get the most out of mastering the penny stocks, okay? So continue.